You guys all set up? Great. I think we're live on RDW already. Well, thank you so much for joining me here at Fort Gordon this afternoon. I want to begin by expressing my gratitude to General Stanton and Colonel Evans and the command staff here for welcoming me back on post and for their leadership at this installation. The men and women who serve here at Fort Gordon do work that is vital to our national security. And they deserve to live in safe and healthy housing. I came here today to ensure that the Army is making good on its commitment, a commitment that Army leadership made to me personally and to the military families on post here, that they would inspect every single home on post. That's why I'm here today. Last year, I led an 8-month-long bipartisan investigation of housing conditions here at Fort Gordon and at other bases across the country and installations across the country where there's privatized housing. And what we found was consistent with the complaints that military families here have been raising for years. Widespread mistreatment of families living in privatized housing on post. And this matters because, first of all, we owe it to those who make tremendous sacrifices to serve that they have safe, healthy accommodation. I've got a 15-month-old baby daughter at home. I know how it is for these young families and young parents who have infant children or young kids in these homes. They cannot and should not have to fear that their child may be sickened by the housing they're living in on a U.S. Army installation. This also matters because this gets directly at the Army's ability to execute its mission in our national defense. Healthy soldiers who can focus on their mission instead of being distracted by distress about the conditions their family is living in are better able to defend our country. And we are better able to retain the exceptionally talented people in the Army when they and their families are treated right and they're living in safe, healthy housing. That's why this matters. That's why I launched that investigation last year. And that's why I've stayed focused on this. I demanded that the Army come and inspect every single home on post. They committed to do so, and they are doing so. And that's a positive sign. And that's why I came here today, to confirm that these home-by-home inspections are underway. They are underway. I appreciate the Army's commitment to do that. I appreciate that the Army is making good on their commitment to do that. But we've still got a long way to go and much work ahead of us to ensure that the housing here is up to standard and that Balfour Beatty, the company that is responsible for operating this housing, is fully responsive to the needs of those who live in it. So again, just to be absolutely clear about what's happening today, I've returned to Fort Gordon to personally ensure that the Army is making good on its commitment to inspect every single home on post. And I spent the day out at communities on post, personally witnessing those inspections happening. Those inspections are happening, and that's an encouraging sign. But we've still got a long way to go, and I'm going to remain focused on this issue and fully committed to holding the Army accountable and holding Balfour Beatty accountable to do right by the military families who live here. So with that, I'm happy to take your questions on this or any other subject. And Tiana will call on you, please.
What kind of conditions did you see when you oversaw the inspections today?
Look, one of the challenges is that many of the homes on post are many decades old, and they have persistent maintenance issues. What we found in the bipartisan investigation that I led, an 8-month-long bipartisan investigation, I want to emphasize that Republicans and Democrats working together to get the facts. This is something above politics. We found that, especially in those older homes, when service members and their families placed maintenance requests, sometimes for urgent things that impacted the health of children in the home, they weren't getting the timely service that they deserved. So there's a range of quality of housing on post. The bottom line is that Balfour Beatty must respond timely and provide effective maintenance where there are failures of appliances or furnaces or structural issues in homes.
So, I know that this inspection will take a couple of weeks. What will be the next step during or after these inspections in the plant?
Well, I came here today to personally ensure that the Army launched these inspections of every single home on post, as they committed to me that they would do. These inspections will produce data about the quality of housing stock on post that will allow me to hold the Army accountable to addressing some of these immediate and pressing issues, and to hold Balfour Beatty accountable to addressing the issues for which it is responsible. I want to emphasize this. What I have seen here is a command at Fort Gordon that is committed to the people who serve here. I have confidence that General Stanton and Colonel Evans and the command staff here fully understand how important it is that this housing be up to standard, and share my frustration and the frustration of the military families with the performance of Balfour Beatty in the maintenance of these homes. I also want the contractor to succeed and improve. So I'm going to remain focused on ensuring that the commitments that Balfour Beatty made when we held that hearing in the Senate last year, that they live up to those commitments. Yes?
Senator, a couple weeks ago you wrote a letter to the DOD with some other senators about the lack of information on privatized housing. How do these inspections fit in with that overall issue about not enough data being collected?
Well, the inquiry I launched with Senators Rubio and Scott is a bipartisan inquiry focused on the Department of Defense not collecting data about health effects of substandard housing, not just here at Fort Gordon, but across the country. And the point that we are making to the Secretary of Defense is that the military needs to catalog and collect and understand all of that data about the health effects of substandard housing wherever it is in the United States for military service members and their families. Yep.
Were you able to speak with any soldiers who live in the housing today? If so, what did they say?
Yeah, I spent time with several families in their homes while the inspections were underway, and also held a town hall meeting with more than 40 enlisted personnel on post to hear their concerns on housing and other quality of life issues. I think that there is appreciation that the Army is following through on a commitment that they made to inspect these homes, but also recognition that we have a ways to go to ensure that the housing is up to standard. Yep.
In the Senate inquiry, you made a point of arguing that Balfour Beatty has continued some of the same behaviors that they pled guilty to in the interim period. Since the hearing, have you heard anything in terms of Balfour Beatty making some of the improvements that we just discussed?
It remains to be seen. It's too soon to tell. My hope is that Balfour Beatty succeeds in living up to the commitments that they made to me, that they've made to the Army, and the obligations that they have to the service members who live in these homes. It's too soon to tell whether they're yet making good on those commitments.
Anyone else?
Okay, thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.